Next. Well, I said next. We are on the king's business here, peasant. Shake a leg or have it forcibly removed from your torso.
Yes, sir, of course.
Name?
John Plowman, sir.
Plowman. Plowman. Ah, yes, here it is. You owe 2 shillings. Drop it in the chest and be off with you.
Begging your pardon, sir. I cannot pay before the mount. My daughter, she's gravely ill.
It appears from my records that you were unable to pay last time and shown mercy by the crown. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir.
And what happened that time? Another child gravely ill?
Well, actually...
Dropping like flies, are they, peasant? Tell me, what are you feeding these children of yours?
Well, that is much the issue, sir. Food is being quite scarce, and we haven't been able to get enough together.
I really am growing weary of this, and it is none of our concern. The taxes must be paid.
Is there a problem here, Reeves?
Ah, Sheriff. Just the man I wanted to see. Yes, this selfish peasant refuses to pay his fair share in support of the kingdom.
Terribly close to heresy, citizen.
I'm not trying to...
And you know what happens to heretics.
I am telling you God's honest truth.
The Crusades are taking a heavy toll on the treasury.
But we must support the cause, Your Majesty. And Richard, of course.
And yet, I do worry for the kingdom's future, Cyril.
The cost is great, but the rewards will be greater. Perhaps I should intervene.
2 shillings with which to satisfy your debt. Or you will find yourself under arrest and awaiting a fate more dreadful than merely losing a couple of small coins to God's good cause.
Please, I beg you. Without your mercy, my daughter may die.
Enough! You think your sob story will save you? Time to face the consequences.
Steward, please. I have this well in hand. You don't need to intervene.
We cannot coddle every peasant with a sad tale, Sheriff. The Crusades are costly, and the kingdom needs every coin. King Richard would not...
Don't tell me what King Richard would or would not do. I dare say I know him much better than do you.
But I...
Steward.
But, Your Grace, I...
Just shut up. I will be at your farm at the beginning of next week, peasant. If you cannot pay by then, you will be arrested and subject to the full weight of the law.
But I won't have the money so soon, sir. My daughter, please.
Let it take it, my good man. The sword above your head hangs but by a thread.
I'm not going to be able to put it together between now and next week.
Perhaps this treatment is too harsh, John. Yes, the kingdom is going through a difficult financial time. But we must remember the people who make it whole.
There's a fine line between compassion and weakness, Robin.
You are so right, John.
I know. But you may call me Your Majesty.
As I was saying...
I understand, Robin, yet we cannot afford to be seen as weak, or chaos will reign.
Chaos simply cannot be tolerated, John. Your Majesty.
Cyril, why don't you make yourself useful? Fetch me an item of sustenance from the kitchen. A chicken leg, perhaps.
But, Your Majesty, you even now have one in your hand.
Which I will have devoured by time of your return. Be gone with you. Now. And please, take your time and select the finest leg of all.
Of course, my leg. My liege!
He's quite something, isn't he?
That is one way of putting it. But he does have his uses.
Does he?
He assists me with various chores of the kingdom. Something I could never ask of the mighty Sheriff of Nottingham.
I would be more than happy to fetch your chicken legs. Little John.
Still finding humor in that childhood name, are we?
Oh, but of course. It shall live and prosper for eternity. Much like you, my good king.
Yes. Well, I do hope you know you are the only man in the kingdom who could call me that name and keep his head atop his shoulders.
A good thing to keep in mind, indeed. I must confess, the name harkens back to the innocent days of our youth. A good feeling in these darkening times.
Innocent days, perhaps. Although I fear we may not share all of the same warm memories.
Did the name of Little John bother you so much?
I am not fond of it. Although there were other things that came along that I did not appreciate.
Your leg, Your Majesty!
Back so soon.
Yes, Your Majesty. And might I say that you need not feel disheartened. Height is not what makes a man. It is power, drive, ambition, wealth.
I have neither need nor desire for your counsel, Cyril. Give me the leg and be gone.
Of course, of course. But remember, Your Majesty, that I, too, once suffered from slightness of stature.
Once?
That much I do believe. But our similarities diverge at one key point.
And, what might that be, my liege?
I grew out of it.
I am ever your faithful servant, Your Majesty.
Oh, good saints alive.
What were you saying about him serving a purpose?
I concede the point.
I suppose every court needs a jester. But with all truth, John, you do know I hold our bond in the highest esteem.
As do I. We must only be cautious to remain steadfast in the kingdom's cause.
And I'm certain we share that allegiance, John. That of holding high England's banner in Richard's absence.
Yes. Richard. We are, of course, assuming our dear king returned safely. His departure left a regrettable void of power in the kingdom, which, of course, is why I elevated you to the position of Sheriff of Nottingham.
It is my pleasure to serve, John.
You are the only man I know that I can trust.
Well, except, of course, for Cyril.
If I didn't still need the little weasel, I would let you use him for your archery practice.
I would be honored. And speaking of archery, will I see your homely face at the tournament at week's end?
Well, I do not especially enjoy the dull duties of my position, or watching you win. Again.
Marion will be there.
Well...
And as a contestant.
Well, if anyone could best you on the field, it would be her. And if there's the slightest chance of witnessing your humiliation, I shall certainly be in attendance.
Oh, I have lost before.
Pray tell.
I was competing against myself.
Ever so humble. But naturally, the only archer to beat the great Sheriff of Nottingham would be the great Sheriff himself, eh?
Naturally. So, will I see you in the royal stands?
Very well. I shall be there.
And so it is settled. Not that I need it, but perhaps I should fetch my bow and spend some time in practice for the match. Oh, and have Cyril meet me in the courtyard. Have him dressed in red.
It will be a pleasure. And, Robin?
Yes, Your Majesty?
Aim for the heart. Thank you for listening to Episode 1 of Robin Hood, Rising to Honor. In the cast, you heard A.W. Miller as Reeves the Treasurer, Daniel Cross as John Plowman the Farmer, Duffy Weber as Cyril the Steward, Jonathan Cooke as Robin Hood,
Darby Kern as the Guard, and Craig Hart as Prince John. Sound design by Jonathan Cooke. Robin Hood Rising to Honor was written, directed, and produced by Craig Hart, Alicia Hansen, and Jonathan Cooke. Music by Dominic Trice. Robin Hood Rising to Honor is a production of LRT Media and Eternal Future Productions.